This is Be The Giraffe with Chris Jarvis. It's time to evolve and elevate. Welcome back to Be The Giraffe. My guest, Josh Chodniewicz, founder of art.com, allposters.com, and Fundify. We were talking at the break about family and you telling the stories earlier about you having all the fun with a big family, all the fun things you did with the other kids. I know you're still very close with your siblings. I have my younger sister has given me, when she was little, she was just my annoying little sister, but she's given me some of my best advice. And sometimes, you get good advice and insights from people when you weren't looking for them. And you had a story. You were investing in these companies. You were doing well, and you told me a story about your sister that completely changed your trajectory as a very successful entrepreneur and then a very successful investor. A conversation with her completely changed your path in life to where you are now. So I think this would be interesting to the people who are watching.
I think at the time, to set context, I was thinking through whether I would start a venture fund perhaps, or start to raise money. What that means is I'd raise money from accredited individuals, wealthy people, and then invest that capital. And my sister had asked me, well, how do I get invested in these companies? And I thought to myself, well, you can't, because you don't have enough money to make a difference and an impact where that would make sense from a viability standpoint for a venture firm. And there's also laws and regulations that prohibit unaccredited investors from investing into startups.
So let me step back. So you told your sister that you were investing in some of these companies and they were doing really well. Some of the ones were doing really well. And she was a teacher, correct? Is that what you told me? Or
no. My sisters are, one's an entrepreneur, another one, they're both really entrepreneurs in their own way. They've done different things through the years.
But didn't make as much money.
Yeah.
So the thought was she wanted to get better returns and liked what you were doing and said, great, how do I jump on the bandwagon and do the things that you're doing?
Yeah.
Like, big brother, I want to be like you. And the response is you can't.
Yeah, some of the venture firms, require massive minimum investments, right? So it makes it nearly impossible.
Some are $1 million, some are $10 million,
Exactly.
Some are more than that.
Exactly. So huge minimum amounts of money to get in. And yet what I did know through the years and through the data that we collected in startup investing is that startup investing is actually incredibly lucrative. You have many people, the wealthy are moving money out of the public markets into the private markets because the returns are double digit, 15, 20, 25, 30% a year. The earlier you go in the stages, or the earlier and more risk you take on, the actual higher rate of return you're getting. And if you look at startup investing across the board, we looked at 16 to 18,000 companies. And if you had invested across the board, you would have returned 27% on your money historically.
So you're saying even though these startups where 60, 70, 80% of them fail and you get none of your money back, that the top 10, 20, 30% of those companies return so much that the average return is 27% when the stock market is 8 to 10.
That's exactly right. It's you're getting significantly better returns in the private markets. Again, this is why the wealthy individuals of the world are moving there. Yet, there's not a method in which you can actually put small amounts of money to work. So maybe if you had $1,000, even there, it's really difficult to find companies that will take your $1,000. What if you had $100? What if you had $10, right? That's the kind of the genesis of this sort of thought that said, why couldn't we help everyday average people that wanted to, or even maybe we have some people who are very wealthy are saying, hey, I want to invest $1. That's our minimum. You can come in for $1. And people are coming in and saying, I'd like to put $1 in. Maybe some are because the dollar is what they want to do. Others want to do it to try it out and see what kind of investments they get, and maybe eventually move to $1 amount that matches their kind of life and where they are. But the idea being, build a product in a way, in a method that everyday people could invest into this asset class and reap the rewards that the ultra wealthy are reaping.
Okay, so I want to connect this for the audience. So your sister wanted to find a way you started thinking about how can everyday people invest in startups when they don't have the minimums and the laws. I used to own an investment firm. The laws were that if you're not an accredited investor, you don't have annual income of hundreds of thousands of dollars that you can document, you don't have $1 million liquid, you can't invest. Like, you were prohibited from investing in these things. So this wasn't just a situation of, well, for people who complain that the rich are getting richer, in this situation, that was certainly the case. You had the highest returning asset class completely unavailable to average everyday people from both a legal standpoint and from a functional standpoint.
That's right. And even, and we looked at lots of ideas on how to solve that issue. Because even if many accredited individuals don't really have access to this asset class as a whole. So even if you're accredited and have this wealth, well, maybe you have $100,000. Well, how would you choose which company to get into? Are you just going to are you going to invest in the next person that comes to you and says, hey, I want to raise $100,000? Are you set up to make those decisions? And how might you make those? And as we talked about it with a couple of my brothers, maybe over time, and my sister, we talked about how might we create a fund or something of that nature that we could do something as a family to make investments. But it became difficult to kind of figure out a solution like that. And that's where we learned about equity crowdfunding and what that enabled, what the laws were changing that enabled people to start making investments into startups, and then eventually built our product from there.
Okay, so crowdfunding, the law did change. So there were two things. There's the practical angle of how do I have enough money to invest in companies? Well, I guess there's three parts. One is that. The second part is the do I have enough money to invest? There's how do I access these things? And then there's the time to figure this whole thing out. There's a lot of variables. So the law changed, allowing people to invest in these crowdfunding platforms. So it's almost like the GoFundMe for starting a company, or Kickstarter or something like that. Became very popular. But at the end of the day, you still don't know what to do. You're still stuck with this. I'm still randomly selecting companies when most of them are going to fail. That was the challenge you were solving for, is that if I'm going to do this for people who are everyday people, you said, I don't want to create, these people can't afford to fail with 80% of their money. They need something they want the upside, but they need less risk.
Right. Well, just like the wealthy go to venture capital firms and say, listen, I want to pay somebody, because with a venture capital firm, you pay a management fee for those firms and those people to work all day for you. That's really what's happening. They work all day, they work for years to find those few investments a year that they make for you. Just like that, the unaccredited also need people to do their work for them, the investing work, because during your 9 to 5, you're working a job. And when you come home, you want to be with your family and your friends, and you want to have the weekend. Now, you can take a hobby and start reviewing companies, but you need to look at many companies to make one single investment, and that becomes the challenging aspect of kind of delivering, even if you had the wherewithal to make the decisions and knew the questions to ask and knew how to build it. Our approach was, how could we solve that for the everyday person, right? How could we build a group of people that would be what we call pro-advisors, that would be available, that could research deals, that could look at deals that match their areas of expertise, that we would eventually build a product that was so easy for someone to join, and then really easy for us to deliver, for us to deliver the results that they were looking for.
So, like, the story of this genesis could go on for a whole other episode of all the things that you went through and all the steps, but I think it's really important to tell people, what is Fundify? Like, in a nutshell, because I think it's something that everybody who's watching this is going to find interesting at some level or another. I've invested money, I've invested my friend's money, my son's invested money. Like, we love what you're doing. So tell people, what is Fundify, from you versus me, what it is and how they can jump on this bandwagon of this thing that you created.
Fundify is a way for the average everyday person to get access into the startup asset class and to reap the rewards of hopefully the historical returns, 25-30% historical returns that we hope to achieve going forward as well, right? So the way you get involved is you download the Fundify app, you go through a step of answering a few questions, you connect your bank account, you agree to X amount per month. We have people joining literally for $1 a month. We have some people in for thousands of dollars a month. What we then do, your job is done at that point. Every month we will draw down your account for your investment amount. We then take that capital, pool it together, negotiate with hundreds of startups, vet them. Most of the time we're telling startups that we're not making investments there. All right, we're doing that work for them. We have a team of people doing that, and then we negotiate terms with the very best startups that we can find and invest your capital along with all our Fundify members into the specific deals on the best terms that we can. Hopefully alongside expert investors, hopefully alongside other venture firms, even at times, is what we're looking at. Like I've done in the past, we would look to do the same sort of thing here with Fundify to eventually garner the same types of returns for everyday people.
So people can go to Fundify.com, or they can go to Fundify on their app store or at on any of their devices, log in, connect their account, and then they're going to invest. And everybody who invests gets access to the startups at the same price.
That's right. The same price, you just get your pro rata portion, right? So you're getting this number of shares are based on how much you put in every month. So but it's an equal playing field. No matter how many dollars you come in with, you're getting in.
No minimum, stop anytime, restart anytime.
That's right.
All of that works.
That's right.
You do the work, I get access, and then you notify me of the companies, and then I know these companies that I'm following, and I can, it's fascinating. And so the people who do this, then all these people in the Fundify world find out that they bought whatever company they bought.
Yep.
Now you've got a situation where this whole crowd can then promote the company they all invested in.
Yeah, the idea is eventually we'll have millions of members that are investing and also becoming essentially, potential consumers of the products, knowledgeable about the products and the companies that it's kind of like creating a Shark Tank effect for each company that we end up investing into.
It's fascinating. I love it. I think it's Josh Chodniewicz. He saw what was going to happen with the internet before the internet happened. They did great work with allposters.com and art.com. Now they're seeing how to democratize the financial services space to invest in startups so you can get access. So definitely check out Fundify, download the app. It's going to be worth your time. And for your next lesson on how to elevate your perspective and see a better path, come back for the next episode. And also check the website so you can see a little bit extra bonus coverage with Josh and me talking about some different ideas and some cool stuff Fundify's doing. Thanks again.